Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hey guys, my name's Nevin. I'm going to be doing a revert story video for you guys today. If I keep looking down throughout the video, it's because I'm reading off note cards just so that I can remember, like, the details of my revert story. The reason why I'm doing this video is because, for me, like, revert story videos were, like, super important in strengthening my iman when I was, like, first reverting to Islam. Just because, like, I saw people with similar experiences as me, and that was really important, and that, just for me, like, having that visibility. And then another reason I'm doing it is because, like, I've been a Muslim for, like, I've been, like, formally a Muslim for, like, 3 years, and, like, I continue to just, like, forget, like, that time of my life and, like, how hard it was to be a revert. Like, I just forget that struggle entirely. So I just, like, don't want to forget it, so I'm making a video about it. And then also, the last reason why I'm making this video is because I need more Muslim friends. Like, I live in the middle of white Pennsylvania suburbia, where I have, like, 4 Muslim friends total, and, like, I talk to them, like, every day, but, like, that's it. And everyone else, like, loves Donald Trump and hates black and brown people, and it's honestly a struggle bus, I'm not gonna lie. This video, I'm going to talk about, like, some pretty controversial stuff, just because, like, I think all reverts kind of have a past where they lived an entirely different way of life, and they had to, like, unlearn that, and, like, learn kind of, because Islam is a way of life, like, it encompasses, like, every single thing you do, like, it should always be on your mind, so, like, reverts have to, like, relearn how to literally live life. So I'm going to be talking about, like, some of the stuff that I, like, believed and thought, and not like I murdered someone, but, like, I definitely, like, am not completely proud of who I was before I reverted for obvious reasons. But I also wanted to say that I'm still learning. Reverts have to basically, like, teach themselves everything, like, literally teach themselves everything, especially if they, like, don't have a car. Like, I don't have a car, and I'm 18. I don't have a car, which is sad. But I can't go to, like, a masjid and, like, ask someone to, like, teach me Islam. Like, literally the only way that I learn Islam is from, like, Googling and YouTube and, like, the 5 Muslim friends that I have. So I guess for some background, I always called myself a Muslim. Like, my dad is Turkish. So, like, you know what they say about Turkish Muslims. Like, my dad's, like, if he's being honest with himself, he's, like, secular. Like, he's, like, a secularist, and he's also, like, agnostic and atheist in some ways. So he doesn't actually, like, practice Islam at all, but, like, he'll call himself Muslim sometimes, depending on, like, the situation. My mom is Catholic. She's, like, South American. So, like, but, like, when I asked my mom, like, do you actually think that Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, is God? Like, she's like, no. And I'm like, so then why do you call yourself a Christian? She's like, I just believe in one God. And I'm like, so you're a Muslim. But, well, I don't say that because I don't disrespect my mom, but, like, she's a Muslim. Like, but I also, like, always called myself a Muslim because, like in 9th grade, we had this world cultures class where we had to, like, learn about Islam because, like, a huge chunk of the global population is Muslims. And, like, I was the only one in my class who was pro-Palestine. I knew, like, 3 out of 5 pillars when I first started. Like, I think I knew, like, I knew the 5 prayers, I knew Shahada, and I knew fasting, but I didn't know the other 2. And, yeah, I was, like, the only one in my class who had any basic knowledge about Islam. Just because, like, all my family in Turkey practices, and, like, my grandma, like, before she died, she wore hijab, and, like, some of my cousins wore hijab, so, like, I knew a little bit about Islam, but, like, not a ton. And, like, another funny story is, like, I literally studied so hard just so that I could, like, prove to myself that I was Muslim enough in 9th grade, like, just to get a 98% on this, like, Islam test. I got, like, a 70 on the Christianity test. But, yeah, basically, like, I always knew that I believed in one God. I never, like, I mean, I think at some point I was, like, in middle school, I called myself a pagan, but I only did that because I thought that being a pagan was cool. Like, sorry to any, like, pagans that might be watching if that's disrespectful, but, like, I don't think I was actually a pagan. Well, I know I wasn't actually a pagan. Like, I always believed in one God. So I thought about the major like monotheistic religions, and I knew like Christianity was no-go because I just didn't understand the Trinity. Like I've been to so many Catholic masses and they tried to explain the Trinity to me, and I'm just like, I don't understand this at all. Like one guy was like, you know, the Father is ice and Jesus is water, and like the Holy Spirit is water vapor, and I was just like, I don't understand, like why. I didn't understand it at all. And that's what a lot of Muslim reverts will tell you, is that they just don't understand the Trinity. So I knew that Christianity was a no-go for me. And also just because, like, Christianity has, like, a really bad, like, colonial past, and, like, I just didn't like Christianity, really. Like, respect to you if you're a Christian, like, to each their own, but, like, I just didn't get it. And then with Judaism, like, I didn't really, like, a lot of Muslim reverts will tell you, like the Old Testament just didn't click, and, like, I just also don't understand the concept of, like, why does my mom have to be a Jew for me to, like, be a Jew and get salvation? Like, I don't understand how those two things are connected. So for me, like, that plus, like, reading the Quran, like, that clicked. Like, I knew that it was the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it has, like, miracles in it. Like, if you look up, like, miracles in the Quran, like, that's crazy. Like, there's so many options. Like, the whole book is a freaking miracle. Like, it's amazing. So that's why I knew that I was going to be a Muslim. I knew I was going to be Muslim since I was in, like, 8th grade. So then people asked me, like, why it took me so long to revert, because I started, like, actually practicing Islam and, like, trying to be a Muslim in, like, 10th grade, but, like, I knew I was Muslim since, like, 8th grade. And, like, the main, like I said, this video is going to be a little controversial. I don't know if I'm going to add this in the title or not, because I don't want people to just, like, click the video and dislike it, and then leave, because, like, this is a part of my story, and I'm just trying to be transparent. But, like, sexuality was what has always been holding me back. Like, before I came to Islam, I basically considered myself a lesbian. Like, I didn't, like, and, like, I can't explain how big of a test being queer and Muslim is. Like, and a lot of people don't respect it. Like, they kind of treat you like you're lesser because you're queer and Muslim, and they treat you like you're not a good enough Muslim. But, like, it's such a huge test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like, to have to endure, and, like, I think that there should be, like, at least some leniency and respect with people who are going through that. Like, my whole life I've leaned towards women, but that's not even, like, really the problem with, like, that's not why I, like, would stay awake at night praying and crying and, like, freaking out, and, like, that's not why it was such a big test. Like, it isn't even about, like, being with women necessarily. It's about, like, the doubt in my heart, because like I said, I grew up in a secular progressive household, like, with liberal parents, and, like, I just couldn't reason through why, like, two people loving each other was wrong, and that puts a lot of, like, hardship in my heart. Like, it makes me really sad a lot of times just to think, and, like, honestly, like, it makes me doubt the religion, and it makes me, like, hate myself a lot. Like, it makes me, like, loathe myself. Like, that's just a part of the test, and, like, and I would watch, like, YouTube videos. Like, I love Mufti Menk for the sake of Allah, but, like, his video where he was talking about, like, the story of Lut alayhi salatu wasalam, which is, like, a super beneficial video, and, like, I love the video, except, like, one part he's talking about how he saw a gay couple at an airport, and he kind of just, like, he talked down on them, and he treated them like they were disgusting and lesser, and, like, that stuff makes me, like, really sad. Like, seeing other queer Muslims get treated like they're just nothing. Like, that, I don't know, that video made me cry so much. Like, I think people need to understand that the vast majority of queer Muslims, like, are nowhere near comparable to the people of Lut. Like, the people of Lut were awful. Like, they beat people who were, like, they beat, like, travelers, they, like, raped people. Like, that's not what the vast majority of queer people, that's not, like, it's an injustice to compare, like, queer people to that. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'll make another video about that, but I don't want to make this whole video about, like, that part of my life, because I don't know, it's still a touchy topic. To the extent that I literally, like, wrote an entire debate case about, like, how hard it is to be a queer Muslim. Like, I didn't talk about the topic, I would just get up there and scream and cry about my life, and then I would, like, win. Like, there are multiple Ivy League tournaments where I got, like, top 10 speaker, literally not talking about the topic at all. And it was based in Jasbir Puar's literature, called terrorist assemblages, talking about like the mutual exclusivity of like identity categories. Maybe I'll make another video on that too. I don't know. But right now I'm talking about my revert story. So, but this is a part of my revert story. Like, it actually is a genuine like part of who I am. So I thought it was important to mention. But at some point I realized, like, you know, Allahu Alam, whether homosexuality is right or wrong, like, I know this is the truth. And to me, salvation is more important than, and like pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is more important than like anything else. So I decided that I was just gonna take that step and come to Islam, regardless of, you know, the tests that I was going through. I wish I could remember what that push was that made me come to Islam, like what really pushed me over the edge. And like, all I remember is that I had this like really like high iman. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, but I had this like really high iman. Like, I believed la ilaha illallah, and like I just felt like this nudging to like just like revert. Like, I just felt that push, so I just did it. I started wearing hijab at speech and debate tournaments first, like, because my parents weren't there, so I could wear them there. And then I started wearing it at school. Nobody really took me wearing hijab or being a Muslim seriously for like the first year and a half. Rightfully so, because like, it was funny. Like, the first day I wore hijab to school, I had like this huge coffee stain on the hijab, and it had like stripes on it, and it was the ugliest thing ever. I don't know who let me walk out the house. Well, no one let me walk out the house. I hid in the bathroom and put it on, but like, I don't know who let me look like that. And also at forensics tournaments, like I said earlier, I didn't have access to modest clothing, so I would literally wear like shorts and hijab, and I would wear like ripped jeans and hijab, and like I would wear like knee-high socks and a dress like with my thighs out with hijab, like, which is, it doesn't seem modest, but to me, like, I would not walk out the house unless I had like something covering my head. Like, I would have like a comforter or like a bed sheet, or like, not literally, but like I would put like scarves that weren't intended to be hijabs on my head, even if I wasn't wearing a completely modest outfit. To me, that was better than not wearing anything. Something interesting about wearing hijab for the first time is like I wouldn't say that, like, you go from like not being minoritized to being like very blatantly outwardly minoritized, and that like really changes how people perceive you and treat you. Cause like I know I have like pale skin, but I'm not like white. Like, my dad's Turkish and my mom's part black. So my hair, like, not, without giving too much away, like, my hair isn't white hair. Like, I have like my mom's hair. So it's not that I looked white, it's just that I had like enough ambiguity that people like just didn't feel like discriminating against me. But like, when you wear hijab, like, I've had like some weird experiences with, like, cause I'm a cashier, I've had weird experiences with customers like saying some crap to me. I've had experiences with like people like coming up and like just being like, oh my god, like, you look so amazing, like just being like overly like overcompensating. I don't know, like, it just changes how people treat you and perceive you. Like, it makes you like a spectacle. I don't know. But yeah, like I was saying, my parents didn't like me wearing hijab, or like I like kind of mentioned earlier, like, my parents didn't support me wearing hijab at all. Like, and no one really tells you how hard it is to access like hijabs and like modest clothing. Like, so I like basically, like, this is a pretty big test that I had to go through. Like, my mom basically just said that because of her views as a feminist, she couldn't support me wearing hijab. But like, this annoys me with like some feminist, like some white feminists especially, but like feminists in general will argue that like hijab is anti-feminist. But if you force a woman to wear anything, that's anti-feminist. Like, if I force a woman to wear a bikini, that's oppressive. If I force a woman to wear hijab, that's oppressive. But if a woman is just choosing to like be virtuous and be modest, like, there's nothing anti-feminist about that. Like, I don't know. So my mom, she said because she's a feminist, she couldn't support it. She like would make me I had to hide hijab from her, especially because she's the only one who enforced it. My dad would just be grumpy whenever I wore hijab around him, but he wouldn't do anything about it. My mom, one time I was at a forensics tournament, or a speech and debate tournament, they're the same thing. Like, we don't dissect bodies in speech and debate, we just call it forensics. But like my mom would make me take the hijab off if she was at a speech and debate tournament, and like one time it was in front of all my friends and it made me cry, and it was just not a good time for anyone. But yeah, my dad just said that it felt like he had, like, quote, a Saudi exchange student living in his house, which, like, that really hurt the most, because I didn't care about my mom's, like, backwards view about, like, feminism, like, that like thinking that like wearing hijab is anti-feminist. Like, I didn't really care about that. That didn't really hurt me. But like my dad said that like it just didn't feel like his daughter was there anymore, and like that really hurt. The thing I will give my parents though is that they never like interrupted me praying. Like, they always let me pray, which like I respect them so much for that. Like, if they walk in and they realize I'm praying, like they'd still let me pray, even though they were against me being Muslim. So then fast forward to my 17th birthday, we were going to watch Black Panther because like we're all SJWs. I'm such a socialist. Sorry. But we went to watch Black Panther on my 17th birthday, and I like convinced my mom to let me wear a hijab walking out the house because I was like, it's my birthday, like I want to wear a hijab. I've been bugging her for like a year, so she was like, fine. And this is such a huge step because then that means that now I can justify wearing hijab for the rest of my life without my parents like actively trying to get me to take it off, and I basically had their consent too, so that meant a lot to me. So basically what happened is we went to this Black Panther movie, and the theater was like empty because it was like, I think it was like a while after the Black Panther movie had been out, but there was like this one like horde of hijabis and like brown children and like they all said Saddam to me, and like it was just such a blessing that day. Like, I don't know, and like I don't know, that was such a good day. I just think that was like a miracle that all like my mom let me wear hijab that day, and then like the only people in the theater were other hijabis. And like I still struggle with hijab, just like most hijabis do. Like, some days I still want to take off hijab, just because like being outwardly minoritized is really difficult, because it changes how people perceive you. But also just because like I have like some body confidence issues, and I like want to feel pretty, and like I feel like one of the prettiest parts about me is my hair, but I have to cover it up. But ultimately, like, alhamdulillah, I wear hijab and I wear abaya to like school and in public, and I don't know, it's just changed my life. Like, it's made me so much of a better person, and I couldn't be more thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. So yeah, that's basically my revert story. A funny story is, like, I never, like, actually took shahada with an imam. Like, I never actually, like, formally had that shahada, like, in a masjid. So, like, I just did it on my own, obviously, and I, like, thought, like, you know, Allah is my witness. But, yeah. That's about everything, you know. I'm not gonna drag the video on, it's already, like, 18 minutes long. If I think of anything else, I'll just make another video. So, yeah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you guys have a blessed rest of your month of Ramadan. And, yeah. Assalamu alaikum.